Hello everyone, and welcome to the Hub, which is the AQR series of webinars. Well, this one's a bit different from the ones we normally have, so we'll just tell you a little bit about it. I'm Ken Parker, the chair of the AQR, and I'm delighted to be joined by Sarah Jenkins, who's also on the AQR board and has volunteered, we'll use that word very loosely, is that right, volunteered, Sarah?
Something like that.
Yeah, to run our conference that will take place on September the 17th this year. Well, some of you have been to our last conference in 2013, which got amazingly rave reviews. Well, we intend to make this one even better, but it all depends on our members. It's your conference, so we need to shape it how you want it, hence this session. So far, we've had a meeting with those who have volunteered to run the conference with Sarah, and we've developed a theme, being human. And a call for papers has gone out. But we thought you might like to know more about what's in our minds, and we want to know what's in yours. So Sarah's going to take you through our initial thoughts, but we're pretty sure you'll have thoughts and questions. So as we go along, please jot them down and send them in, and we'll try to answer them at the end of the session. So, over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Ken, and hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. As Ken mentioned, the idea today really is just to share a little bit about how we came up with the theme, what our thoughts have been so far in terms of how that theme might develop, and then share a little bit more about the format of the day so that you guys can have a think about how you might fit in, what you might be able to contribute and help us to shape the day, really, because at the moment everything is very flexible. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like until we've seen your wonderful ideas. So really, let's get going, I suppose. So when we got together, a few of us got together, started thinking about the theme. We're just working out how to change the slide onto the next one, so bear with us. There we are. So when we got together and started thinking about the theme, one of the things that came up really was that as qual researchers, we know that what people say is not always the full picture. There's many other things to think about, to put the words of our participants into the context, to provide a much greater meaning and a greater understanding for us. Everything that makes us human, factors such as emotions, spiritual and religious beliefs, our friends and family, our gender, our sexuality, our ethnicity, they all play a role in the decisions that we make and the way that we behave and the things that we say. As sociologists, we understand the importance of these influencing factors and the need to understand them to interpret the true meaning of what participants' words are being said. We understand the necessity to recognise these factors and use them within our analysis. Despite this, we still sometimes are quite quick to put people into boxes. It's not just ourselves and clients, but participants themselves get put into segments or typologies such as working mums, cat lovers, football fans, people like that. And unintentionally, we will have preconceived ideas about what they'll be like, how they behave, what brands they engage with, what their shopping behaviours are, what their TV activity is likely to be. But as qual researchers have been saying for a long time, we can't truly understand any single part of the person without first understanding the whole and engaging with other aspects of participant lives, and brands are starting to realise this too. Brands are realising that they can no longer rely on just a top-down parent-child relationship. Instead, people want an adult-adult relationship, like they would have with other humans. Being as a result, brands are trying to personalise and emotionally engage with us as consumers. At the Insight Show last week, for those of you that may have seen, the big debate on Thursday included Mark Matou, who's the Global Senior Vice President Marketing for Unilever, and he stood on the stage for 20 minutes telling the audience that brands need to put people first. All marketing needs need to be relevant to the consumer. They need to be contextualised, and brands need to be put within their lives, customised and personalised for their audience. He says he never calls them a target because that reminds him of military. They are people, they are humans. And we're already starting to see other brands that are recognising this. Some of these examples you'll recognise. So the Share a Coke campaign Even people who don't typically drink Coke started looking out for Coke bottles with names on. A classic example is myself. I have a friend who doesn't drink tea or coffee. She's addicted to Diet Coke, and I found myself deliberately going into shops, searching the shelves to try and find a Coke bottle with her name on it because I thought it would be a nice thing to do. Yet I'm not necessarily a Diet Coke drinker. Other brands, innocent, and maybe one of you've knitted one of these hats or have other hats. It's seen as a bit of fun, but it's also, we often go in and we may have chosen a bottle or chosen the juice just because we liked the hat, not necessarily because we chose that particular flavour. So this is about trying to engage with people and getting people involved in their marketing. Maybe you've eaten lots of crisps. Walker's here invited people to send in ideas for their new flavours, and the ones that they liked were created and put out on the shelves. And we were all invited to then vote on our favourite flavour. But in order to vote, you've obviously got to go out and try all the flavours, right? So suddenly we're buying more crisps perhaps than we might have done. So these are just some examples of how brands are starting to think about us as people and trying to involve us as humans into their campaigns. So what does it mean to be human, and how do we actually connect with others? What difference does it make if we include the human element, and what happens to brands who exclude it? And these are the questions that when we got together, we started asking and discussing around the theme of being human. How do we understand the human elements that are influencing the decisions? And what difference does it make if we do? So the theme for the day, as we've said, is being human. And you can interpret this however you like. We're really very open-minded, and we're looking forward to including lots of different angles on what this means to you. We want the day to be interactive, engaging, energising, and loads of fun. So ignore all those formal conferences you might have been to where you sit in a room for hours on end listening to tons of presentations and go home with some leaflets. That's not how we want it to be. We haven't got fixed ideas about what it might be like, but we definitely want lots of interaction and engagement. So in thinking about how the day might be structured and how you might be able to get involved, we've got some ideas, but as I said, they're not fixed. The last conference that went on was hugely successful by having lots of short 10-minute slots. These might be presentations of experiences, thoughts, just opinions. You might be able to share a case study with us where a client of yours included the human element, or in fact missed it in a way that they might have benefited if they'd included it. You might want to share your thoughts or ideas, or simply just get something off your chest. Have a bit of a rant about something. Have you got examples that have demonstrated how understanding feelings and emotions has led to strategic thinking? Perhaps you know of problem brands that have faced the problems that brands have faced when they've left the human element out. Any of these could be shared in one of the short 10-minute presentations that might go on. As I mentioned, unlike other conferences, we would like there to be lots of interaction throughout the day. We want everyone to feel engaged and energised, so perhaps you can include some audience participation, maybe some voting to get them to do an exercise, stand up, shout out answers, whatever you like. Of course, this isn't compulsory, but you might want to think about it when you're thinking about what you're including. In addition to the 10-minute presentations, we do want to have some breakout sessions where we're working in smaller groups. What might these look like? Well, they might look like a little bit like this. We definitely want them to be interactive. You might want to share tips and techniques that you have used and that you can apply. We have some ideas. For example, we may theme the breakout sessions around some TV type programs. So looking at these, Jackanory is a classic example about how storytelling techniques might be shared. It may be that you've tried something and it's worked really well, and you want to share some of those ideas about how you have helped to create a story. Thinking about the general election, of which I'm sure you're all really tired because you were up all last night, but some kind of leaders' debate or opinion where we have people in a panel sharing their thoughts and ideas on different things and having a bit of a debate within the room. Dragon's Den may be that you want to pitch an idea. It may be that you've thought about a brand and how they might want to include a human element and how that might advance their brand. Pitch your ideas to a panel of people, and at the end of the day, we can pick the best idea or the winning idea. It may be that you've got some workshop techniques or some pre-tasking ideas that really revealed much more about people than you anticipated. You've learned lots about them. So Quali's Got Talent might be a session where we facilitate just lots of different workshop ideas or tasks or activities. So these are ideas that you might want to think about with the breakout sessions. It may be that you have an idea where you might want to run a whole session, take control and facilitate a session in one of these ways, or any other way that you think is appropriate. Or it might be that you have just one thing that might be able to contribute to one of these. So if you've got a workshop technique, if you've got an idea, if you've got some opinions or things like that, you can be submitted as part of a whole collection of others. So for example, within Quali's Got Talent, we might have 3 or 4 different ideas on techniques or tools that get the whole room doing those things for that time, and we can all share and vote on which one we feel is best. So the breakout sessions can be really flexible. They can either be facilitated and run by yourselves if you feel you might want to, or you can contribute a small idea to within a bigger session. It's entirely up to you. Beyond this, we are also in search of the 2015 Koala Prentice. So for some of you that may have seen the call for papers, if you're under 30 years old and you want to get noticed, this is your real opportunity. There's no specific theme. You might just want to pick an area of qual that you find particularly interesting and tell us why. You might want to tell us about something in qualitative research that completely frustrates you and you find intriguing. Why do we do it like that? Maybe maybe we should be learning things from other industries. You might want to just raise a series of questions to the qual community about anything that's of interest to you. You might want to challenge us as a group about what we're doing. Anything, it doesn't really matter what it is. Submit your idea for the Koala Prentice and we'll shortlist 3 candidates who feel passionately about any aspect of qual to compete head to head for this prestigious award of the Koala Prentice. So in doing this, you submit with your call for papers and we'll shortlist ahead of the conference. Those 3 candidates will then be supported by an experienced qual researcher from outside of your agency to help you prepare your 10-minute pitch on the topic of your choice. At the conference, you'll then present your paper and we'll have a brilliant opportunity for the audience to vote for the winner. So this is your opportunity to really make a mark and shine within the industry. So we've had a few questions up till now about how we go about it, what do we do, what do I need to fill in. Don't miss the deadline. It's Wednesday the 3rd of June is the end of the call for papers. There is more information on the AQR website. There is essentially a form to fill in which simply says, give us a brief overview of what you want to talk about or what you want to do, what your idea is, what your technique or tool is that you're prepared to share. And then we will ask for a bit more detail, and that's it really. So at this time, that's really just it from us in terms of as far as we've got. But as I said, we're really, really flexible in terms of how we do it and what we do. And we'll only really know what the format's going to be like once we've seen all your amazing ideas. So at this stage, we'd really like to kind of open it up for any questions that you might have and any ideas that you might want to share. If you want some more information on things, let us know.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. Sarah, thank you. Right, so we are at question time. So anybody got a question you would like to put up now? Okay, I'm looking and nothing has come in so far. So with that, oh, hang on, what's this one? Let me see if I can get that bit bigger.
It looks like...
Hi all, what are the criteria for the Koala Prentice? What will they be judged on? Well, good question. And the answer to that, of course, Sarah, is...
to be honest, we haven't listed a set of criteria. We're looking for. We're just going to look at the ideas that come in, and as part of the same kind of paper sifting that will go on, or the call for papers as they come in will be reviewed. And I think, to be honest, we'll be just looking for anything that we think everybody else will find really interesting and exciting and want to hear about. So it's about anything within the industry. It might be challenging us, it might be something we've not thought about. It really will be trying to get a collection of different ideas across the different papers, and that's it really. We haven't got as far as setting a core criteria. Sorry about that.
Well, thanks Ed for that question. That's Ed Carey, by the way. Anybody else got a question to come in? We're waiting here ready. Oh, Ed said thanks. Well, that's lovely. Any more? Okay, well, in which case, what we're going to do now is we're still inviting questions, so you can still put them up after we go off air. But the other thing is that you'll probably want to know how you get in touch with us. And if you want to get in touch with us, let's just go. Is there another chart that leads to? Yeah, there should be one. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Right. Okay. So if you want to get in touch with us, then that's Sarah's details. And I'm below there, as you can see. Please either send us an email or give us a phone call, or just get your synopses in, because we're really wanting to make this an exciting and a brilliant day. And I'm sure your ideas will be great for a great session. So thank you very much for listening. This will be going on to the AQR website as well. So if you want to get your friends, colleagues, anybody really, dogs, cats, to watch it again, then please do so. You'll find it on the AQR website. And thank you, and hopefully we're going to have a brilliant conference. Goodbye for now.